Good morning. Good morning to everyone. I think we will be starting in like 1 minute to give you enough space to join for those who are trying to connect at the moment. So give us one more minute and we will kickstart. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so thanks for the messages already in the chat. I think we can then kickstart. We had a little buffer, so we can start already. All right, so let me welcome you here on our presentation or webinar around our salary guide for this year for 2024. Before we kickstart our part on the presentation, I would like to give the word to our new Managing Director, Agnieszka Pietrasik, who would like to welcome you as well.
Thank you, Marty, for the introduction. Good morning. I'm glad that we can meet here for the introduction of our new 2024 salary guide. I'm relatively new to the Czech Republic, but not to Hayes or the recruitment business as such. I've been working for 15 years at Hayes in Poland, and also cooperating internationally with all the Central Eastern Europe region. That's why I can confirm that our Hayes salary guide is a valuable resource of information about specialist labor market trends and salaries in all our countries. And I can also say that I can already see some similarities between Czechia and Poland. Both markets have experienced a certain slowdown and high level of inflation in the past year. We were also facing the same challenges with the specialist skill shortage and still quite high level of the pressure on salaries. My team members will now present you the most interesting, the most important findings from our survey. So thank you again for your interest in our salary guide, and I hope that you will enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Super. Thank you, Aga. Thank you very much. All right, so I think we can kickstart. I will not be introducing ourselves too long because I guess you know us if you connected. But just a quick word around Hayes as such. What is important for the salary guide is that we, as a consulting and recruitment company, are focusing purely on the so-called white collar positions. So we do not focus on any manual workers, etc. We are only focused on the qualified and skilled workforce, and that is also connected with the salary guide that rotates around basically specialist position in various segments of the market. Then let's go to our agenda. But before I do so, I'll also like to introduce myself so that you know who is the host of today. My name is Martinele Papoušková. Here in Hayes, Czech Republic, I am basically leading, in a nutshell, I'm leading all non-technical recruitment teams, and I'll be guiding you through our presentation of today. Basically, two, three organizational things. First of all, we are recording this session so that you can refer back to it in the future, or you can share it with anyone of your colleagues. We had a great success of the big launch yesterday. We had enormous attendance because we had a Czech version of the salary guide yesterday. So I'm glad that we can also accommodate this to you, to the English speakers, or to those who didn't make it yesterday on for the first time slot. And I think that's it for the organization. So basically, let's look at what is ahead of us. We'll be presenting you on our key findings, so the methodology of our salary guide, and on the results of our survey. And then we will do a deep dive into 4 segments or sections. As you can see, business services, HR and administration, IT and engineering, as those are the ones where usually it's the most, I would say, relatable to you. So if we look at our salary guide as such, the methodology, and so that you know where does the data come from. So our data source, or the data that we present, are a synthesis of 3 data sources. It's a comparison of salaries offered by the employers, the end companies, combined with requirements of applicants in basically in the offer stage, or what they are offered by the companies, as well as their requirements when they are looking for a new job. We were conducting our survey in October last year, so it's still very fresh. And I can already say that we had a very strong participation, mostly from the business side, as we had almost 550 respondents from the companies responding to our survey, alongside of more than 1,000 employees participating in the survey. As you can see on the first chart, the most of the participants are in the IT and telecommunications industry, but also from engineering, pharmaceutical and medical industries, and all the others. And it's quite similar on the employees and employers side. I will open it with just few comments about the market about the recent market of the last year, and what does it bring for us for this year, and few basically challenges or few trends that we could have observed on the market. I will probably not surprise you with saying that it was again one of the challenging years. And I can comment that the companies overall were quite cautious about any costs when it comes to recruitment or personnel, or any costs as such, which led basically in the fluctuations or waves in their recruitment activities throughout the year. There were companies that were hiring, there were companies that were not. Some of them were more or less cautious. So that's something that you probably might have observed on the market as well. What we can see as a response of employers to that is a sharp increase in companies' interest in temporary workers, or so-called agency workers. We assume that it's because temporary assignment or agency employment is a very flexible response to your unclear needs. Basically, many companies didn't know what they will be actually needing. They didn't know how to plan the personnel properly. There was no clarity in the business needs, and all of these situations can be responded with an external workforce or agency employees. So that's something quite interesting that we have observed around the market. We can say that for those from the HR or the business management that you are present here, we can say that it was a challenging year also because of some extra HR topics that were on your agendas, such as new labor code implementation or amendments of the labor code. Also some tax and state burden changes around the employee benefits, also return to the office and institutionalizing how to basically go to the office or not go to the office, and finding the right system. So it was a tough year for all of you. But hopefully the worst is already behind and we can look forward to a more optimistic year. And when it comes to recruitment, as such, as I already said, it was kind of fluctuating. No one really knew specifically what will be needed. and we can see this caution in recruitment. But what comes naturally is some slowdown of the selection process as such. On the other hand, I would like to state that still there is a high competition between employers for employees. So employees still can choose from many offers. It's not very hard to find a new job. So I would like to kind of urge to you not to forget about leading or executing the recruitment process as sufficiently as efficiently as possible, because I would still recommend some 2, maximum 3 rounds of interviews, because the candidates can be gone quite shortly. What is also crucial is a very clear communication and managing expectations of the candidates when it comes to the length or the content of the recruitment process, because unfortunately we have seen many times when there was no clarity in the process, that candidates were dropping off. And the feedbacks or the whole interviewing process took sometimes too long. It was put on hold, or there was no clarity about the second, third round, and it also not rarely took more than 3, 4, 5 weeks, and it's really way too long. So we still recommend keeping it as simple and as short as possible for you to onboard the talents that you need. And now I will pass my words to my colleagues who will tell you a bit more about the data findings about our survey.
Thank you, Martina. I'm taking the control of that, so let's move on the data. I would like to start with the retention and priorities of the employees. So as you can see in the data, 49% have the priority to keep current employers, which is quite understandable. We are in the period where it's quite difficult to get the new employees, and if the candidates, if the employees leaves the current job, it's quite difficult to rehire a new talents. So obviously the companies are paying more attention and keeping the employees at the current job. 42% will invest into the development and training as it leads the employees more engaged. The candidates appreciate it when they are looking for a job. We can see that the training part of the benefits is definitely something they are seeking for. And there is a benefit as well that the employers are actually increasing the basically the quality of the job as due to the training the employees are developing. What we can see that 34% claim that they will be hiring new employees. Therefore, I would like to recommend definitely to go after this presentation to download our salary guide. You can select an option that you are looking for new employees, and we will definitely reach out to you, and we will try to find as suitable solution as possible. If we look at the other part of the presentation, we can see that the roles what will be organization recruiting for the most. You can see that 8% of the employers won't be planning any hiring. On the other hand, 92% will recruit, and typically for the permanent roles, which is on 86%. 24 and 22% is spread between temporary workers and contractors. And as Martina said already, there is a significant increase compared to last year due to the needs and basically unclarity what projects will come in, what's going to be the headcount. Therefore, we have this increase. Let me just move on another slide. Now we will have a look at the employees' attrition. So if we count all the percentages, it gives us 60% of the employees is thinking about the change in some way. 35% from that won't be looking actively, but if anything interesting appears, they will be considering a new change, and 18% already made up their mind to change the job. Yeah, sorry, I can see that you've already, yeah, we moved on. What factors, a part of the salary, are the most interesting? So both groups claimed that it's a good atmosphere. It's very, very important. Candidates could make up their decision from the interview. We know that they're asking how is the atmosphere, how is the culture, and it's a massive factor for them to make their decision. And for the employers, it's very important to work on the company culture to keep the current employers, as I was mentioning in the previous part.
Maciej, please take over the control again, because you by accident switched on different slide. So if you take the control back, you can proceed in the clicking.
Great, great. Hopefully now I have it.
Yeah.
Hopefully now it works. So yeah, if we move into another section, how did the salaries evolve in 2023? So based on our research, which we've done last year, we've predicted that the salaries would go up to 10%, which was actually the case for 45% of the companies. Quarter of the companies then raised the salaries up to 5%, and we can say that for both, it was across all of the sectors. 10% of the companies didn't increase any salary at all. What I would like to mention, which is not on this slide, is that we can see that the passive candidates, when they are looking for a job, they are usually asking between 15 to 20%, as basically the main motivation for those candidates is the salary, obviously. Now let's have a look into the year 2024. What are our predictions? So as we've seen last year's, the salary has been growing very fast. It's been a real fast pace, and therefore we are expecting that this year will be rather shy. We can see that 43% of the companies will grow salaries up to 5%. 13% won't increase salary at all. What is, on the other hand, positive, that due to the inflation is getting lower, we can see that the real wages will actually grow. So this is definitely something positive, and I believe the candidates are really happy to hear that. The candidates are not having any crazy or enormous expectation this year. We can see that 73% of them is, on the other hand, expecting some salary growth, but it's not going to be in such numbers as last year. Quarter of them is expecting an increase up to 5%, and 21% expect increase up to 10%. When it comes to those who are not expecting any salary growth, it's roughly around 25%. If we move on the last slide, which is actually focusing on the benefits, it's not any surprise what we can actually see, and we don't really see any like additional benefits compared to last year's. What is definitely then standing out is possibility to work from abroad, especially when we speak about like IT, as this is mainly my domain. We can see that there is a lot of foreign candidates, foreign employees. We can then see that those candidates are requiring to work from home. On the other hand, we can see some negatives on that it's for the employers really administratively difficult. It requires a lot of legal checks, and basically the trend is roughly up to 4 weeks during the year. What is definitely not anything we didn't expect is that the most basically asked benefits are extra days of holidays or flexible working hours, as well as possibility to have home office. We call it a hybrid regime. And we can say that this is appreciated the most by the candidates. Now we will move to another section, which is actually covered by my colleague Ivo Pešta, and he's going to speak through some trends in the business services division. So I'm passing my word to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maciej, for the word.
Ivo, sorry, before you go on, I would just to say, because I forgot one organizational thing, if you have any question, but I could see that you already understood that, please use our chat so that you can ask our speakers or general questions that you might have. Okay, sorry, Ivo, I won't be interrupting.
No worries. Perfect. So thank you, Maciej and Marty, for the word. Hi to everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Ivo Pešta, and I'm working as a recruitment consultant in the division of business services. So I'm specialized in recruiting for the roles in shared service centers and business process outsourcing companies, mostly in the finance field, but also in logistics, customer service, or even procurement. And today I will walk you through the business services sector from the overall market perspective, and then also in terms of remuneration. In terms of like overall sector, we didn't experience a very turbulent year in terms of like recruitment. The personal strategies of the companies in the sector were not very ambitious. And from the recruitment perspective, last year was rather characterized by stagnation and the aim to like allocate human resources to the correct places. Uh, Also, we could see at large corporation a trend of hiring freezes happening. Often, these hiring freezes could last for unusually long. And also, if you are one from a huge corporation, you might have experienced it on your own, so you know what I'm talking about. And for this reason, companies usually tended to only replace departing employees, but not necessarily all of them. And overall companies were rather very cautious in terms of like remaining costs and rather chose the tactics of like savings and economic safety. Furthermore, we notice a decrease in junior and supporting roles, such as the accounts payable or accounts receivable, or even some junior customer service roles on the market. And at the same time, there is a decreasing amount of like local top management positions with strategic decision-making powers. So these global roles are also mostly being relocated back to headquarters or some more important and larger markets such as Britain, the United States, Germany, or Switzerland. And for this reason, some candidates with many years of experience in higher positions in the finance, logistics, purchasing, or even customer service could look for the employment for much longer than they originally expected to. And many of them had to reduce their demands and temporarily accept a lower position. So, for instance, from managerial position to team leader, or from team leader to supervisor, or even like from supervisor to a specialist. And the overall market has experienced considerable development in like recent years. And these Czech shared service centers are gradually transforming into so-called like centers of excellence or competence centers or business centers. And they are now focusing their recruitment on more experienced, qualified, and technically well-equipped like mid-level specialists or line managers. And the number of high volume entry level positions is decreasing. These positions are normally now moved or opened in countries with a cheaper labor and lower state taxes for the employees. So in the countries such as like Romania, Bulgaria, or Asian countries such as India, Malaysia, or the Philippines. And we could see one very nice trend that we couldn't see for quite a while in the past years. That after a few years, there have been several cases and new investment projects coming in, and this led to the expansion or even creation of new departments in mostly existing shared service centers. Uh, Now, I would like to talk you through the salary trends and also the benefits and remuneration package. Salaries for senior candidates are now very comparable across the competition. And for this reason, other factors can motivate candidates to change and are becoming like more important. So there are fewer, for example, this motivation. The motivation to change can be, for instance, like a pleasant working environment or like adequate workload, mainly in the finance field, quality of like work-life balance or overall flexibility. It can sound like a cliche, but it is something that the candidates are really looking into. So they are really checking, like for instance, the stats and ratings on the Atmoscope or similar sites, or asking their friends that are working in this sector. So the so the like the ratings are usually very interesting also for the candidates. And the standard is a bonus of like 5 to 10% of the annual salary or the 13th salary. And if there is like a chance to have a higher bonus, it can be one of the motivating factors. Another trend we could see on the market, which Matej already somehow mentioned, is that the option of working from abroad has become very popular among job seekers and employees in the business services sector. So it's not only in the IT, but it's also in the business services sector, also like mainly like in finance or customer service. And companies that have already introduced this benefit usually offer it between 1 and 4 weeks per year. And this is usually attractive for foreigners who can visit their home country, their family for a longer period of time, or even for people that want to combine work with a longer vacation. Uh, in 2024, the average wage increase in business services is projected at the level of around like 2 to 5%. We don't expect any serious increase unless something unusual happens. And we experienced the huge jump increase at the turn of 2022 and 2023. And since then, the salary have stabilized and are now going to probably stagnate for a while. And below, you can also see the list of the most typical roles in the sector. All are with only the English language. And if there is like an additional language, such as like German, French, Spanish, or Italian, or Dutch, in all those positions, normally it means like 5 to 10% increase in terms of like the minimum. And it is also interesting that among like the very typical roles in the segment, the roles such as controller or reporting specialist occur, which is also the new trend which I mentioned, that the companies are more focused on the complex and mid-level specialists rather than the entry-level like junior positions such as AP or AR. That's pretty much all from my side. I don't know if there are any questions. If not, then I will pass a word to my colleague, Julia, who will speak about HR and administration and also temporary staffing.
Thank you, Ivo. I'm checking the chat. No questions to you or to business services so far, so we can move on.
Okay, so thank you, Ivo. Thank you, Marty. Hello, everyone. My name is Yulia Ivanchenko, and I'm Senior Recruitment Consultant for Temporary Services team. Now, I would like to get into the field of HR and administration by saying that mainly the trends that we have revived is the demand of employment, both for office operations and the organizations of events. Also, in the second half of the year, companies started to standardize office attendance systems again through, of course, the HR department. For companies, a free working regime or individual agreement with the manager was kind of no longer enough, so they'd rather introduce uniform rules for all employees, and this with typical hybrid models of working from home 2 or 3 days. Home office, as it is required mainly by junior candidates who sometimes, as we all know, have a bit unrealistic expectations. On the contrary, more experienced specialists, including HR professionals, appreciate the importance of personal contact with employees and use the possibility of working from home to a rather limited extent. It is also important to mention that the necessity of recruitment in administration is increasing. Especially, we can see it for assistant roles such as office assistant, team assistant, or even executive assistant. Currently, we are facing the effects of cost reduction in companies, as well as some legislative changes in the Czech Republic, both of which affect the functions that are related to human resources management. Namely, recruitment activities were even suspended for some time last year, which brought a lot of challenges for recruiters and other recruitment specialists. Many companies, we see that they're striving for long-term financial optimization, and they're trying to move HR functions to different foreign centers. So we can see the tendency that reporting in HR goes, for example, to Poland, Romania, Hungary, and sometimes even further east to India. Which of course then limits the competence and decision-making powers of local management and different HR representatives. As for HR professionals, in recent months, they've been involved in the preparation for the implementation of the amendment to the labor code. For example, we all could see that there was a change in the setting of the attendance process and the entitlement for leave for those who are working on an agreement to perform work or in Czech departure. Overall, we can see the transformation of the HR field, and it leads to creating new positions, new titles, such as people and culture, people operations. Currently, we can even see that even HR business partners sometimes perform the functions of HR managers or even directors. As for applicants for administrative roles, we can see that they're not only looking for a higher salary as it was before, but also for the possibility of career growth, skill development, interest in benefits, flexibility, etc. As for the salaries, we are expecting a rather conservative increase in 2024 by roughly 5%. The reason for this is rather a larger wage increase in the previous year. In the table below, you can see data on changes between the most frequently recruited positions. For example, you can see that the salary of receptionist is already usually around 35,000 crowns per month gross, and for office coordinators around 45,000 gross. Now I would like to get into agency employment. Firstly, because it is my specialization in HAYS, but mainly because it is an alternative form of employment and it could be interesting for some of you. So in 2024, as it was already mentioned by my colleague, we expect an increase in interest in temporary services as well as part-time jobs. The main increase and main reason for this increase is the quick availability of candidates and the reduction of risk planning and future commitment for the companies. A temporary assignment, as it is, allows us the filling of different positions. Project roles, it could be a great solution to fill in for maternity or extended leave of existing employees, or it simply can be seen as a headcount savior. So what is most appreciated in an agency or temporary employment? Of course, the flexibility both in the duration of the assignment and also in the termination of the employees. Businesses also appreciate kind of transferring all the recruitment and administrative burdens to an agency. But what we've seen recently, compared to last year, the candidates are also interested in this type of employment. Almost all the time, they receive equal conditions to internal employees. It includes benefits, vacations, bonuses, etc. So they have a lot of opportunity to try different work options with several employers, which could be especially interesting for young candidates. Transferring then the employee to the company's core status is also quick and flexible. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both. And we have an interesting news in 2023. We've noticed that there became a lot of possibility of working from home even for part-time jobs. Mostly we can see this tendency for students, and as well, we see it in the field of administration, of course, except for the receptionist, but in marketing, finances, customer service, and HR. The fact that the wages are changing can be seen in the table below. For administration, we see a regular wage now of already 180 crowns per hour. And for the interim HR managers, the typical assignment is around 120,000 crowns per month gross. And now, if we don't have any questions, I would like to thank you for your attention and give a word to Aisha, who will be presenting to you recent IT trends. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuli. I just confirm we can go on. And if any questions occur in the throughout the guide, we will go back to them. So we can continue for the moment.
Thank you. Thank you, Marty. And thank you, Yuli, for your valuable insights into the sector. Hello, everyone. My name is Aishwarya Verma. I am currently the recruitment consultant for IT permanent hiring team at Hayes, Czech Republic. I've been into the recruitment for about 2.5 years now. I'm here to give you some interesting insights about the IT sector, which I have observed in the last 1 year in 2023. Talking about the IT sector currently in the Czech Republic, the major observation is that there are many international companies that are opening their, the tech centers in the Prague or Brno and other important cities in the Czech Republic. Talking about that, when people are actually opening their centers from the international companies, they're bringing in a lot of different culture and different nationalities into this particular country. And that will lead me to talk about the observation about the company culture in the tech teams right now. Currently, the firms have started to focus on a lot of culture fitment as much as they used to focus on the technical expertise. Because they would want to retain the talent and have them stay in the company who are able to align with the values and mission of the companies. So the retention of employees is currently a very important center of attention for the companies as they are trying to bring changes in the benefits and allowances. Talking about, if you see, we have also observed some different approaches in the hiring processes for tech teams now. The first and second rounds are mostly about the HR in-person talks, and then the technical expertise are basically assessed. But now, currently, the final rounds have started happening where the candidate is actually just meeting the team, and that itself becomes a round of interview where they're able to see either they're culturally aligned or they're able to speak to the team, or is the vibe matching with the team or not. And after that only, the companies are proceeding to provide the final offer. So this basically coincides with the fact of the culture fitment that I actually mentioned earlier. The most on-demand roles, especially along with technologies like Java, C#, .NET, we are actually seeing a very impressive increase in different new technologies like artificial intelligence. We are looking at positions like machine learning expert, AI specialist, cybersecurity specialist. And within our team of IT, we have also hired a record of Salesforce professionals in the last year of 2023. And because so many companies are moving towards a permanent CRM implementation. If we look at the trend, I think even in the previous slides, my colleagues mentioned about how foreigners are currently exploring Czech Republic as a very important and motivating place to come in. So if I talk about the IT sectors, we are actually seeing a trend of foreigners coming to Czech Republic. And the companies are actually exhibiting a nature of inclusivity because they are accepting foreign nationals mainly from the countries of Bulgaria, India, Poland, and Serbia, just to mention about them. Talking about the benefits and remuneration trends in the IT sector, we have also seen that there isn't any standard percentage hike for employees that has happened. If I talk about the observation in the last year, I think there has been a standard of 10 to 15%, but now the employers are rather moving towards individual performance and target achievement basis kind of hikes. We are also looking globally that there is a trend of employers putting a lot of attention on taking care of the mental health of employees, and they're putting in efforts to bring in different initiatives of mental health counseling, and also they are investing a lot into in-house trainings for personal development. The employers are actually looking at it as an amount which they're investing in the employee that will make them feel empowered to stay updated with the latest technologies, and in turn will help in the retention of them at the company. From the very beginning of the webinar, we see that working from abroad is becoming a very, very common trend across the different sectors. There's no change when we talk about the IT sector as well. This particular benefit is becoming very popular, and the companies are promoting this to have a very diversified pool of talent from different cultures and nationalities. This basically also promotes the regime of flexibility and also giving more chance to the talent which is actually not residing in that particular country. We have actually seen cases where the salary and taxation is happening with respect to the country the employer is hiring for, and the employee is actually working from a different region particularly. As we look at the table down, we have the most on-demand and the most popular positions which we have been hiring for. And in the 2023, and Java becomes the most sought after technology. And I would like to say that yesterday I was just reading about a head of digital technology center of a very, very big multinational bank. And he actually made a statement saying that the banks have actually become the new IT companies now in the country of Czech Republic. So talking about any kind of Java technology or front-end developers, be it in the sectors of banking, software solutions, or even FMCG, these companies are currently moving towards digitization, and every company is currently looking for different tech stack to work on their internal applications and the applications they're working for their clients as well. We can look at a minimum range of these roles where we see there is a range between 80,000 Czech crowns to maximum 140 or 150 Czech crowns on an average for these kind of positions. We can also see that data analyst is also a very popular role, which is very common across sectors, and there is a huge amount of talent available in the market as well for the same. Overall, I would like to conclude that IT sector is currently on a boom, especially in the Czech region. Also, with so many tech startups also opening up, there will be a dire need of talent to sustain the firms. The changes in benefits and allowances will also play a major role in the future retention of employees, and that would only push the companies to have a very, very fast track implementation progress on their current benefits and allowances. I think that's it from my side, and if there are any questions, I and Masha are ready to take that up.
Thank you, Aisha. So for now, we can still move on. If anyone else of you has any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. For now, we can continue. So unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Yes. Hi, Martina. Thank you for that. Thank you, Aisha. Can you see the presentation? Great. So, hello to everyone. My name is Andrzej Rutkowski. I'm responsible for team of engineering and logistics. I have been in the business roughly 9 years. I'm focusing on senior specialist and managerial positions. And I would like to tell you a bit more about trends we have observed with my team recently in production and logistics. So let's dive deeper. I've divided it in 3 sections or segments. One is focused on purely operational positions, then positions in R&D, and then on positions in logistics, or let's say for logistic services providers. What we can see recently in operations, it's probably not surprising for you, but there is high demand for specialists focused on quality, and also for positions which are focused on cost savings. It's usually connected with process optimization, positions like lean process engineers, industrial engineers, and it comes along with other positions which are connected with automation and robotization. So these are usually positions with electronic education or background, high voltage, low voltage. These roles are typical for that. We are talking also electrical engineers, engineers for maintenance. So these are the roles which help the companies to reduce the cost, because labor force is has been quite high recently, and companies also struggling with energy prices. So these are this is typical situation for manufacturing sites. Speaking about R&D centers, again, we can see high demand for specialists with electronic background and education. There is high demand for hardware and software development engineers, and then design engineers. It could be just purely mechanical engineers, but also mechanical and electronic designers. So these are typical roles for R&D centers, and these products which are being developed need to be also tested. So we're looking for a lot of positions focused on testing as well. Speaking of logistics, logistics has been through quite difficult times over the past 3 years. Similar to logistics, similar to production, there is a problem with high energy prices, high labor force price, and also volatility of fuel prices, and great stress on green policy, sustainability. So logistic providers are trying to optimize their processes, automate their processes. So again, we're talking about specialists on process optimization, specifically process engineers, lean coordinators, and also automation specialists. Another thing which is observed recently, especially with development of B2C logistics, there is great pressure on digitalization and development of software and applications which will enable better traceability of products. And also there is higher stress on better customer service. So also customer service specialists are needed at this time. Coming back to R&D centers, the biggest trends we observed recently is a slowdown in hiring for e-mobility R&D centers. There might be several factors behind it, but the thing is that the sales are not as expected. We see behind, for example, the high energy prices. It affects the final price of the product. Of course, there is a lack of support from state. And the other thing could be, for example, the situation that the companies are actually, sorry, I lost that a bit, but there is several other factors which are influencing it. The thing is that the R&D centers are still functioning, but the volumes which were expected last year are not that high. Moving on to expected wage increase, as my colleague said before, it will not be the flat wage increase will be not above 10%. The reason is that the increase in the previous year was quite high. So at this point, speaking about 10%, it's true, but the average, in my opinion, is around 5 and 7% if we are talking about flat pay rise. The companies rather stick to raising the wages on individual basis or just for narrow sample of the employees which are critical for operational functioning. And we can also see that companies are willing to increase salary even during the first year for fresh graduates with technical background. So they try to make them as fast productive as possible. And if they reach some sort of KPIs they are set, then they are able to get pay rise even within the first year. In my opinion, it's very important to bear in mind that if someone is about to change job, the person usually asks for 10 or 20% more than they actually have at this moment. So my recommendation is to work with median. Also, when working with your internal employees, so that the gap between the people who are coming from the market and the wage the current employee has is comparable, so that you can keep your current employees and attract employees from the outside. So that would be it from my side. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask either in chat or you can send me an email and I'm here to answer.
Super. Thank you very much, Andro. No question for you personally so far, but I'll be getting back to the IT, rather to the IT part, as we had a question about the work from abroad. That it has become very popular, that we can see, we agree with that. And on the other hand, there are some risks. So Mashi, can you please tell us more, a bit more on how the employers are managing the work from abroad?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much for this question. Since for many companies, this benefit is still quite new. Of course, there are some differences how different companies implement it. But basically, the core thing is that the company needs to sign an agreement or a contract with its employee, where I specify the conditions of this, let's say, benefit. Mainly, there needs to be decided to which countries the candidate can go to work remotely and to which he can't. Either these can be countries where your company has own branches, or just any countries within the designed area of Europe, US, or based on, let's say, the working hours. But there needs to be set these criteria, and also usually companies put in these type of contracts that if you as an employee go to work remotely, of course it's your own responsibility to set up your own, let's say, home office, have stable internet connection, have the all necessary equipment. So this is your, let's say, responsibility as employee. What's also interesting is that for some companies who have a lot of employees, of course, for them there needs to be some sort of system of how to approve these kind of requests. So I know of some who actually contacted a specialized provider who implemented a subsystem into their own systems, where the employees can actually raise a ticket to which location they want to go, why, what they're gonna do there, and on the side of the HR, the manager, this can be kind of approved or reviewed later on. I also wanted to mention that, of course, we need to take into account the amount of time where the candidate, or let's say the employee, can stay abroad, so that his tax residence is still in the Czech Republic.
when it comes to the length of this, let's say, benefit, which is being offered on the market. Usually it's from 2 weeks, or even some companies offer up to 2 months per year. So this is the standard. Hopefully I answered roughly the question.
Super. Thank you very much, Mashi. Well, of course, for implementing this, I strongly advise consulting with your legal teams, because it needs to be legally framed correctly, also for the insurance, etc. For the legal risks, exactly as Masha was mentioning. So that's probably the best to consult. But we just wanted to say that this is something that we can see more and more frequently, so that you're not afraid to experiment with this. All right, so if I'm checking the chat, there are no further questions so far. So first of all, I would like to say that, of course, we will you will have this salary guide available on our website. So we wanted to encourage you to download the full version, because of course this was just an appetizer, I would say, and you can find the full version in Czech and English version downloadable on our website. And basically, we just would like to thank you. Thank you for your comments in the chat. And if there's anything that you would like to ask or further elaborate on, you could see our speakers. You could see our contact details. So please feel free to get back to us with any inquiry. And in this case, we just would like to thank you for your attention and wish you a very lovely day. Thank you very much. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to all. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.